Hey everybody, I'm Jackie Sample here again. I'm going to share a little bit more about this story. In 2013, Madison Sample, who happens to be a physician, and at that time, he moved into my home with me, where we lived for 9 years. During that time, we are both builders. We made investments. Digital currency was something that we both invested in together as a married couple. We used to get back really significant income tax checks because we used my properties, for the write-offs is what people typically do. So during this time, I managed my units that I rented out. I also managed a hair salon that I did the build out on myself. And I did my own work because I've been a licensed contractor for many years. And that is my background, is construction. So I want to stress again, the 9 years that Madison lived in my home with me, we consider that to be our home. And we built a portfolio together, which was our portfolio. We made investments in cryptocurrency, investments in CareScore company. There were many of trading platforms that we used for different investments. So this was a marital investment that we accomplished building this large portfolio. In 2019, we signed a contract with my company, Jack's Housing and Development, where I built our home in Burridge. And the commission or the fee for that was 20%. So in 2022, we moved into our home. A year later, we ended up in divorce court. So when we moved in our home, I did not transfer that builder's fee, which was roughly 500 and some thousand for the build, which is a 20% average builder's fee. That is standard rate. And I didn't transfer the money because I didn't feel like I needed to. I trusted him, although that money was slated for my next project, which was already underway. I trusted him. So in divorce court, we had an order that no one's to move funds, close out accounts. However, Madison violated that order in every which way possible. And I woke up one morning penniless, without any money, without a dime. I woke up. And the judges were made aware, and they did nothing. Something else interesting about this story, not only did Madison take unlawful control over all of our assets in violation of a court order, he decided to rip off the house of food, personal care items, toilet paper, paper towels, our coin collection, something of value, bags of just food. So he left me in a house where he ripped off basically everything, and I had no access to money to replace food or personal care items. I don't know what kind of person would do such a thing. You have all the money, but you take food items from a house where a person doesn't have access to any money. I also want to show you some handwritten notes in Madison's own handwriting, acknowledgement of our digital currency, some of our investments. So you can scroll through and look. We had a number of different accounts and different investments and different investment platforms. And I trusted him because we shared the same faith. We had a traditional marriage, so I trusted him. He appeared to be honest, so I didn't have a reason not to trust him. He's an earner. I'm an earner. Why wouldn't I trust him? Who knew I would go to bed and wake up penniless? Who knew that would happen? I certainly didn't know. But once it happened, at that point, that's where you count on the law to step in and to correct matters. However, if you have a case where your spouse is predicting that your attorneys won't make him do anything, which is in writing, and he's threatening you using the judges, which is also in writing, how do you get around that? I want to know, how do you get around when the outcome is already predicted before it even started, right? How do you get around that? The FBI, Department of Justice, they all need to come in. It's RICO time.